Hi, welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and today I'm diving into something fleshy. Netflix has dropped a new Filipino zombie movie, and I'm here to talk about it. If you're not familiar, Carlo Ledesma is the director behind The Tunnel, a really tense Aussie horror flick, which I think you can check out on Tubi at the moment. He's got a knack for mixing suspense with solid storytelling, and Outside is no exception here. It's not your typical zombie gore fest. This one's much more about the human drama, and you can really feel that at length. The zombies, they're here, but they're more of a backdrop to the intense family story. It's like The Walking Dead meets a telenovela or a soap series. So if that's your cup of tea, you may enjoy this. Now the acting. I've got to say, they cast this well. You've got Sid Lucero as Francis, who is good as the father figure. He's tormented and haunted by his past, and his performance is disturbingly anchors the whole film. Beauty Gonzalez as Iris brings a quiet intensity here. She has a mother's protective nature while juggling the themes of a broken marriage. So going back to Sid, he plays the father struggling with the collapse of his family. Zombies or no zombies, this dude is going through it. Then there are the two sons that they have, or two son teens. They do a good job at fitting into this new family dynamic in a world that is the new normal, that's a zombie world. You feel every ounce of resentment, pain, and guilt between the whole family. This broken family needs to piece itself together to survive, and that drama is certainly a different aspect for a zombie flick. It's fascinating because we've got the undead, but what's really driving the tension is the drama within this fractured family. It's almost as if the zombie apocalypse is just another metaphor for the breakdown of their relationship. There's this real sense of loss, not just because of world-ending chaos, but because of what they've lost as a family. And so let's talk about the zombie makeup, because what's a zombie movie without some gnarly-looking undead, right? The makeup team did a solid job here. They went for the more traditional, decaying look, but what I really loved about what they focused on is the eyes. The eyes of these zombies stand out. There's a dead, hollow look to them that really adds to the creep factor. And the loose, decaying flesh parts around them just adds to a tangible feeling that the undead are really undead. They're not too over the top, and I appreciate this because the movie isn't about creating the most grotesque zombies. Instead, it's about creating a sense of dread, and the makeup serves that purpose without stealing the show. Although there are times when some of the scenes that you get are particularly gnarly and gross. The themes of Outside go so much deeper than your usual survival horror. It's about innocence lost, particularly with the teens. They are forced to grow up way too fast. So that's a common trope in zombie films, sure, but here it feels especially poignant. The zombie outbreak becomes a catalyst for these two kids to confront the horrors of adulthood, both literal and metaphorical. It reminds me of the Korean world cinema zombie flick, Train to Busan, where you get the clash between youthful innocence and the brutality of the world falling apart. It is not nearly as great as Train to Busan, but it at least pulls from that aesthetic. Speaking of world cinema, I must mention how Outside fits into the broader landscape of international zombie films. You've got that Train to Busan, like I mentioned, from South Korea, which brought heart and emotion to the genre. And then there's Rec, or like shortened for Recording, from Spain, which gave us claustrophobic horror. Outside leans into the emotional weight of these films, rather than, say, something like World War Z, which has great intense spectacle and speed, although there is emotional weight in that film as well. This is a much more slow burn, a very, very slow burn. It takes its time, over 2 hours, and I can see how that might put some people off. It did for me. I was clock watching a lot in this film. I felt the time. Even if you want more drama in your zombie film, you still need to keep a decent pace because you're making a zombie movie, right? That is the issue with this film. It has an identity crisis. It is a drama about a family that just so happens to be in a zombie apocalypse. But when you add the word zombie to it, it definitely conjures up certain criteria that it should have in its film. And it does have them, but it's just a scattering here and there, in between the father losing his grip on reality. The drama takes center stage. It's not about the fast-paced zombie carnage. It's about watching this family unravel. I also want to touch on the whole idea of the tortured father figure. We've seen this archetype in zombie films before. Think Cillian Murphy in 28 Days Later, or Joel in The Last of Us. But here it's done in a uniquely Filipino context. There's an added layer of familial obligations, cultural expectation, and guilt. You can feel the weight on Sid's character, and it makes the slow pacing more meaningful, but doesn't take away from the fact that it is slow. You're not waiting for the next zombie attack. You're watching a man desperately try to hold his family together while everything around him, literally and figuratively, falls apart. And family drama, that's where this film really stands out. It's about how people react under pressure, how relationships fracture, and how survival sometimes means making choices that could haunt you forever. I certainly feel haunted every time I play The Last of Us. It's the kind of emotional depth we don't always get in zombie movies, and I think that makes Outside worth watching. Sure, it's a zombie movie, but at its core it's about family, loss, and survival. Not just in the apocalyptic sense, but also in the emotional one. So my final thoughts are this: Outside isn't going to be for everyone. This will feel very slow if you're looking for a fast-paced zombie thrill ride. But if you're into character-driven stories with emotional solid undercurrents and a real sense of dread, this could be right up your alley. It's thoughtful, it's dramatic, and it's got some great performances. I just wish it was shorter and more contained. The pacing does make this drama feel slow, and some scenes didn't need to drag on for as long as they do. So for me, this hampers the entire film. I give Outside 2.75 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one.
Have you seen it yet? What did you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you like my format and style and found it informative, do like, subscribe and all of that. It does help out the channel. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.